Chris Mortensen,
Here.
Charles Long, Michael Shaw,
Here.
Priscilla Benali,
Here.
Kevin Mitchell.
Here. All right, we'll move on to the next item of business, which is approval of the agenda. Number 2, please.
I would like to make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please, Joan.
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Benali,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen.
Yes. All right, the first thing right here that we've got is recognition. I'll turn the time over to Mr. Hyatt for that.
President Mortensen, members of the board, we're excited today to recognize Valina Hayden. She was, we looked for somebody that we could nominate for the National JOM Teacher of the Year Award. And we asked our cultural ed department to find us somebody that's worthy of that nomination. And Valina was selected. And so we appreciate her and appreciate all her efforts as a teacher in Gallup McKinley County Schools and what she does for our students, and are excited to nominate her. And this will also include having her, and you'll see it later on the agenda, paying for her to go to the conference and to be recognized there also. And hopefully, we'll see how things go from that point. But we thank the cultural ed department, and I also know that Ms. Benali is also a board member for that organization. She might have a few more things that she might be able to talk about that award.
Thank you very much, Chair, and to Superintendent Hyatt. I do appreciate this opportunity. We are very fortunate to have nominations and with our board for National Johnson O'Malley. I do sit on that representing the state of New Mexico, which is Region 2. And we did go out and call for nominations, and we did get a few of them. And after reviewing and looking at the status of different teachers in the state of New Mexico, we're very glad that one of them was from our own district here. So we're very fortunate, and I'm thankful. We look at different criterias for Teacher of the Year, through experience, also interviews from, of course, the recommendation from here, from principal from Crown Point High, and just continuing on with how she's worked for our district and the impact she's made on students in her years of teaching with her career. So we're very, like I said, we're thankful to have a teacher like this be recognized at the national level. So, and I think it's great that we do have those opportunities to recognize our teachers in that way. So thank you very much. And she will be receiving her award on September 19th or the 20th. And so it should be recorded, and I can bring some pictures back or the recording back also when she is awarded. So.
Thank you, Ms. Benali. And so at this time, members of the board, we'd like you to come up to the front, and Ms. Hayden come up, and we'll get a picture and put it on social media.
hopefully this will be one of those times where what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas. We're wanting to see that award and some pictures and everything like that when you get back. We're excited about it. Really, really thrilled.
Mr.
to have
Mortensen,
high-quality teachers.
if I can add a little bit more.
Please.
Teacher of the Year from Zuni was also selected. Tina Patea was selected. And then for exemplary program of the year was Cuba Independent Schools and Central Consolidated School District. So I think we'll see some of our colleagues from our New Mexico schools there also being represented.
Super. Thank you, Ms. Benali. The next item on our agenda is approval of minutes, number 3. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the August 8, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Joan.
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Benali,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen.
Yes. On the next item, number 4, the consent agenda, before we hear a motion on approval or whatever, are there any questions on any of these? All right, then I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve consent agenda items 4A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
I'll second.
Second. Okay. Good. And roll call, please, Joan.
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Benali,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen.
Yes. All right, next item is number 5, study circle. Do we have any public comment today?
We do not.
No public comment today. Just a reminder that requests for public comment have to be in on, is it Friday?
The Friday before.
Friday before the agenda is published. That way we have time to get you on and everything. So superintendent report, I'll turn the time over to Mr. Hyatt.
President Mortensen, members of the board, wanted to give you a quick update on the start of school, and then we have a couple presentations right after me. First, thank you to the board, to staff, parents, students for a successful start to the school year. It's been a little bit difficult with the weather. It's probably been one of our biggest issues at the start of the school year with so much rain. Although we want the moisture, it also has been challenging with road closures, freeway closures, and muddy conditions. So we appreciate everybody's effort to making sure their students get to school. It's been it's part of the strategic planning process. One of the goals that we have and the objectives we have is to help better ensure students are in school. And so we appreciate everybody's efforts and continued efforts to make sure our students are physically in school and participating with the teachers and the other students to maximize learning. And so we had a struggle this past year with attendance, and we'll be rolling out some incentives and other things to help encourage and to promote attendance for our youth. As I mentioned, the strategic plan, Elevate 2025, we have now begun to distribute the pamphlets that we have produced to staff and having planning sessions with them. And then also we will soon have the parent bifold that we'll be sending out to all parents in the district also and students. So just to give you a heads up on that. We also, as many noticed, there has been some work, and we posted a few things about it and talked in communities about school design. I just want to give a quick update on those. We have begun the design process for Tehachapi High School and making sure that we plan for that school to be in a location that benefits that community and the design process. And so we will be working on that design with a school committee and community committee moving forward, and we've already started that process. And so we'll be excited to show you some design ideas for that facility in the near future. Also, Red Rock Elementary, we're much closer to getting design completed for that school. We expect and hope that design is completed in September, and then we'll be able to show what the final version of that plan would be to the community. That school is going to take a little longer to build. Tehachapi, because we're relocating the school to a different location on that campus, it'll move a little quicker. But because we're tearing down and putting up Red Rock Elementary in the same location, that makes it a little bit more complex. And so it adds a little bit of time to that completion process. Also, as some noticed, we finally were able to use Angelo Paulo Stadium. That's been a project from some money we received from the legislature not too long ago, or actually several years ago. But because of some legal and other issues with contractors not completing the job, we finally were able to secure a contractor and get it to enough of a point of completion that we're able to have some activities this last weekend there. So that'll greatly help people being able to use that area for walking and other things, because there's not as much construction going on, but also most importantly for our students and for the different events that different schools use that for across the county. Lastly, I just want to thank the board again for Elevate 2025 and helping us move the district forward. There's been a lot of success, especially in the area of staffing and making sure that we have the approval to move forward with incentives and other initiatives to ensure that we are staffed as a school district. Again, I just want to reiterate, even though we talked about this at the last board meeting, this has been the most successful year ever for recruiting teachers, and not only recruiting, but retaining teachers also. Very few teachers left in comparison to many years ago or in the past years, but also we have been able to attract a large number of applicants into our positions. And so to be able to start the year with so many staff in place with few to none long-term substitutes has been tremendous for the school district, and again, especially for our students. With that, I'll take any questions, and then we'll move on to the transportation and food service reports.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask and see how our bus, the incentive for the bus drivers, how that's coming around, and if we're getting some interest as far as people coming in and signing up to maybe become bus drivers.
Mr. President Mortensen, Mr. Mitchell, if you don't mind, I'll let Ms. Hanks talk about that a little bit during that report, and she can comment on the success of that so far. I don't have numbers in front of me for that, but she may have some more information.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Martinson, I just wanted to mention, I talked to some of our staff the other day, I think about 2 weeks ago, and they were, one has been my friend since elementary school, and we were sitting there just talking about whatever life, and then and then she just said, quickly, she said, I really do appreciate the district for increasing our pay. We actually feel that we matter, and that we more professional even in the way we're handling ourselves now, because I think once we got that pay, we felt that now, not that she didn't before, not that they didn't before, but they're more I guess appreciated, and they feel like they want to do more. And so I told her those were things that we kind of lobbied and requested for at the state level to push. But she was just very thankful, and it was kind of nice to hear that from someone that's actually receiving those funds and making a difference in her life. So thank you to the board and for all you guys that have lobbied and continued to give our teachers the pay they deserve.
With that, President Mortensen, first I'd like to have, let's do Ms. Hanks first for the transportation report. She's also provided you a black folder with some information in there also with regards to transportation. Ms. Hanks?
President Mortensen, members of the board, superintendent, and members in the audience, I am going to give a brief update on transportation. We did have the bus driver in-service transportation on August the 9th over at the Gallup bus barn. I was able to attend part of that, and they were in learning some of the new routing software, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. The district is currently running over 67 routes and over 10,000 miles a day. We do cover a lot of ground every day, and our buses take a lot of wear and tear. We are currently still looking to hire several bus drivers, and I've detailed that information there, but I did look quickly. We have had 11 applicants since our last meeting, so thank you very much for the incentives, and hopefully I'll be coming back with reduced numbers very soon. Just as a reminder to anyone who is interested, you do not have to have the CDL-B to apply. You can apply. We will provide up to 80 hours of training for an individual who wishes to get their CDL, and that will be paid upon completion of the license. And so we're able to support individuals who would like to apply to become bus drivers. That is a $3,000 incentive to be paid in 2 equal installments. The first installment will be paid upon your first payroll with the district. And we have also learned that some of our drivers will be taking advantage of the return to work program. We've had a little bit of interest there, so we do hope to see some of our experienced, already licensed drivers coming back to us in October. So we do look forward to that. I will tell you that we do have concerns. We are aware of the shortages, and we are attempting to maximize the drivers that we currently have, and we are addressing any issues as soon as they're reported. We do know that the Navajo area is continuing to experience issues, and as we know that that is a concern, I'm checking on that every day to see how that's going, how it's working, if we need to meet again, and there's been some cross-departmental teams meeting to try to solve those issues and concerns. I did attach some photos from Muddy Roads. I don't think I have to tell many of you that we have had an exceptional amount of rain, which has been a great blessing for our very dry area. However, it has caused some serious problems with essentially mud, either blocking or standing rain, and where the county has actually closed roads. And once a road is closed, of course, a bus cannot go over it. And so we have been working with parents on getting their children home on those days when roads are closed. I've also attached the notice that was sent out to all school sites to remind them that this is no fault of our children if they are delayed or unable to attend, and that there is alternative protocol to count attendance for those students on those days. We have implemented a new tracking software. A big portion of the in-service was going over with all of the bus drivers how that was going to work. We did do some, during the summer school activities, we were able to test some of it, but until the system really initiates, there is no full test of it. And so all of our bus drivers, bus barn supervisors are all getting acclimated to the software. And once we feel that we've got all of that running correctly, we're going to roll it out to the parents. School sites have already been given access so that they can go in and look at it, but once we do, parents will be invited to learn how to use the application, and we'll provide several trainings on that. And then it would help them to up-to-date know where their student is on a bus and if a bus has been delayed. That software program was started as a pilot last year, and this year we're actually rolling into implementation. So there are issues and concerns that have come forward, of course, and we're working through those as the software continues to be implemented.
Ms. Hanks?
Yes.
So from what I understand, that's live.
It is
They'll
live.
know live where that bus is.
That's correct. We did create a direct link with the student information system, so at the end of every night it's updated, so if a new student enrolls, the bus barn knows about them the very next day. So that communication has gotten a little bit tighter. As you can see from the printed documents, you can see both the route and bus stops. And what we have going on right now is bus drivers actually have a list of QR codes, and they scan those as the students get on the bus. The ideal in the future is that the students would actually have a tag that they would walk by and scan, but as this is a new program, we don't want to go that far yet. We want to just get everybody in the system fully understanding how it works before we start pushing more out onto the students. And hopefully that can actually go on the back of their ID next year, their student ID next year. And then the rollout to parents, again, it's just going to be once we feel that the system is all correct and up to date, we're going to start rolling that out to parents. I don't suspect that will be too long, maybe in the next couple of months. We also have a same trip software that is under the parent company of the company that we're using for routing software. It's just also some cross-departmental teams between program, budget, and transportation to be sure everybody's on the same page as to how those processes will work, to be sure that we have buses for trips when trips are needed. And then some plan changes I wanted to let you guys know about. So the last time we upgraded anything to do with the cameras was in 17-18. And so we are looking at some significant upgrades to our cameras on buses and hoping to get some more real-time footage on those as well. We are in the process of purchasing 5 additional SUVs, and that does have to do with just some of the additional restrictions we have on the various programs we're offering, as well as travel concerns for students, making sure that we're meeting our students' needs. We have already ordered 6 additional activity buses. The build out for those will be in December. Unlike the ones that have been previously delivered or will be delivered soon, these will be more generic in nature so that they can be switched out among teams. But there will be a way to individualize it for the teams that take it. That's still a design in process. And just my last reminder is this is actually our last year with Lamson Transportation down in Rama. That organization will be going out of business at the end of this year, so the district is in process of building a bus barn in Rama, and we've already started design. And with that, I'd like to stand with any comments, questions, concerns.
Board members, are there any questions for Ms. Hanks?
I do, Giovanna. Mr. Mortensen, thank you. With this software, would it also show if the buses are overloaded? And like if there's too many kids on the bus, or the other issue I know is kind of scary for parents is students that are left on the bus, that are forgotten in the back or something. So that would alleviate the bus driver seeing that that child's not been scanned, or there's been too many scans, I guess, for overloading.
Mr. Mortensen, Member Benali, yes. This is going to give us a lot of data. And of course, the safety of our students, making sure that they get safely to school and then safely back to their home bus stop is our utmost priority. And the incidents that you've mentioned has happened in the past. You know, we may have a student who falls asleep in the back of the bus, and the bus driver just doesn't know. And so this software will give us more up-to-date, timely information on where those students are.
Thank you. And the other question I had was, who gets the copies of the transportation policy and procedures?
President Mortensen, Member Benali, the transportation policies and procedures are on the website. They are available to all parents through the sign-on package for the enrollment for their students. And anybody who needs a copy or needs information can contact me at any time. I did include a copy in your packet. Many of you have probably seen this and read this many times, but I always just like to include it in any presentation.
Thank you. And the other comment I had were the cameras, but you did mention that we'll be getting new ones on the buses. Okay. Does that include the activity buses too? Okay.
President Mortensen, Member Benali, yes. We're actually planning some upgrades to that software as well. So not just looking at the equipment itself, but looking to see how we can further maximize that technology.
Do we have cameras at our bus barns in case they get vandalized, or people are trying to break in to the bus barn?
So we, President Mortensen, Member Benali, we will be looking, as the board has previously approved of the upgrade in security district-wide. That investment is substantial, and we should pretty much have eyes on everything.
So it does include all those other facilities that aren't currently monitored.
Any further questions, board members?
Through the chair, the federal government was offering free buses if we went to electric or propane. I was just asked the other day by Marty Chavez, he was here in town, if we'd at least try one electric bus just to see how it worked. Because it doesn't cost us anything. But talking with superintendent, these buses are 3 times what a normal bus. But the federal government will offer them for free, so they were asking us to at least try one just to see how it worked, like in town. But
Sure.
But we passed the deadline for this last round. They said there'll probably be another round coming up.
Sure. President Mortensen, Mr. Schaaf, we did look very deeply into both the propane and electrical potential. Now, the concern that we have is the lack of infrastructure in McKinley County. There are only two electronic charging stations right now in the county that we could identify. Neither one could fit a bus, and there are no propane charging stations for buses. And so we would be able to build our own with some of those funds but there are severe limitations on the buses too. They go 100 miles on fully improved flat roads, and most of McKinley County is not flat at all. And many of our bus routes exceed 300 to 400 miles. And so those buses wouldn't even make one bus route on one charge. So at this time, we felt that there was no way for us to be able to do that economically because the infrastructure is just not there. I'm sure this will and is a priority of the county, and that we should see more of these charging stations open up for these alternative fuel types. Unfortunately, just due to the distance and the ruralness of our county, it's not practical for the district. We would be investing a lot of money to make that bus work.
Board members, any other questions? Ms. Hanks, I do have a quick question for you. The QR code swipe thing for the students, is that something that'll be extended also for activities like sports activities and stuff also?
Yes, President Mortensen, we are hoping that that is exactly what we'll be able to do, so that we'll be able to export and import reports, especially for our athletic teams, where it's very often that parents travel to the site of the activity, and many of those students go home with the parents through official processes. But it will help us in tracking all of those students and getting reports on how many are going versus returning, those types of things. Yeah, and those QR codes, what will actually happen is when an activity trip is entered, basically you give a team manifest, if it were, and then that will be actually printed out for the bus driver. So the bus driver will actually know who they're anticipating to show up for that bus ride in the morning. And then the software will actually map out the trip. So, for example, if you're going to Albuquerque, you're going to participate in an event at, one of the high schools, and then you've already mapped out where you're going to go to eat. The bus driver already has that full manifest for your day before they even leave the bus barn that they're located at.
Slick. As a parent with kids that are, come home late on those activity buses, my boys will be like, I'll be home soon, Dad. I'm like, okay, great. Where are you? I don't know. It's dark. Okay, well, maybe I'll be there to pick you up then. It's always funny.
Yeah, and once we have the availability for parents, again, they'll have an application that they'll be able to look and see where their student is based upon the students that were scanned onto the bus.
Great. Thank you.
President Mortensen?
Yes, sir.
I just have a question regarding the drivers we're hoping might return in October. Will they still be eligible for the incentive?
President Mortensen, Member Mitchell, yes. So essentially one of the things that we stated is if you come back to the district fully licensed, you would be eligible for and so we're very excited for those individuals who are taking advantage of that return to work legislation that was recently passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hanks.
Mr. Mortensen will now have Ms. Montagno come up to give a report on SFE food service, and also Ms. Haas.
Good afternoon, President Mortensen, members of the board. I just want to review an updated plan for the 22-23 school year with GMCS and SFE food service. So the first thing is that all schools are back to pre-COVID operations, which include breakfast after the bell, National School Lunch Program, fresh fruit and vegetable program, and after-school snacks. And the flyers are located in your folder that I provided. We do have expanded menus right now. There's multiple entree selections for every student. Salad bars are fully operational. It is unlimited food with our salad bars. We've also added some additional salad bars, and they have also been ordered to help provide the speed of service at the schools. We've included shared tables with snacks that are available in the classrooms. That is part of the Breakfast After the Bell program. So if there's, for example, granola bars and things like that were left over, they can keep a shared table in their classroom if students need a snack sometime during the day. This year, I'm pleased to say that we are fully staffed in all schools for all of the programs. We offer catering, or SFE offers catering for all school events. That includes open houses, parent-teacher conferences, APPT, literature nights, etc. So some of the new things I mentioned earlier, but some more new things that are ordered and in the process of adding to food service in the district. In the process of purchasing 8 New York-style hot dog carts for secondary schools that'll be able, where students can get their lunches and go straight outside to play. So those will be available in schools. They are also purchasing 5 commercial grills to offer more outside, fresh, off-the-grill cooking. Purchasing a couple of more trailers to transport the grills to different events. There's a refrigerated box truck to support outside functions that we're also working on getting. We are expanding summer program by offering fresh cooked items. That'll be coming up next summer. That's using the grills and the hot dog carts. I want to also point out that a full Thanksgiving dinner will be provided for all parents, and I believe this will include our dinner in December before winter break. We've purchased a lot of equipment that should be coming in soon: ice machines, milk coolers, more salad bars, and ovens. 5th grade track meet. SFE will be providing lunch, fruit, and water for all students during that time. The roving chef is going to ramp back up this year and be provided to all the school districts, or to all the schools in the district. That's where they go in and do presentations, some of our chefs for the students throughout the schools. SFE is also working with the college career and civic readiness departments to help prepare students for the culinary field, so they're involved in that. Some of the grants that's been awarded, of course, is the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, New Mexico Grown, New Mexico Early Childhood Education and Care Department for the Summer Expansion Grant. And I do want to let you know that the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program begins October 1. Also pleased to say that SFE staff, as well as GMCS food service staff, will attend IEPs and 504s for any students that have special dietary needs, and they will provide alternatives for anybody that needs that. And I think the last point I want to hit is our average since school started. We have been providing over 10,000 meals per day. I think our biggest day last week was on the 17th, which was over 11,000 meals were provided on that day. And with that, if you have any questions, I'll bring Ms. Haas up. She is our liaison with SFE, as well as our district food manager.
Board members, do you have any questions?
I do, sir. Thank you very much. Ms. Montano, thank you for that report. I have a couple of questions. The first one, I sent a message to Mr. Hyatt about a student, this mother from Through Elementary said the daughter said she wasn't getting fed enough. And I understand we do have federal regulations that guide us where kids cannot have seconds with their meals. I did a little bit of researching on this because I remember my son having the same issue, and you know, him putting little snacks in like granola bars or something in his backpack that he had during recess just to compensate. But is there any way that we can do share boxes that, like for, well, they call them share boxes. They're like an apple or juice or granola bars, some things that are still packaged that they could put in a location at the school where instead of it going in the trash, they can put it in that box. And if extra kids want an extra apple, they can get that apple. Because I was looking at this different kind of, or maybe people can look in where I didn't and kind of research how we cannot throw that apple away. Because it just seems like we're wasting so much money with the kids just throwing apple juice, orange juice, milk, those kind of things away. That's my first question. If anybody could, because I don't want to hear, yes, it is federal regulations, we can't do that. But is there something else we can do with that food? The second thing is water stations. I know SFE was really assisting us with our students to have the water stations. I know the newer schools have the little water bottle refillable stations. But what about our schools that don't? And, kids are we still able to do those water stations? And I know SFE got a little creative to put the little fruits in them and, stuff like that at one point, but then it stopped because I don't see it no more at the schools. The other question is, how long is our contract with SFE, and when are we going to come back and revisit their contract? And the last question is, activity and athletic school bus, or meals, that for our students on a way trip. Are they being relooked at? Are they getting, again, more creative with the lunches? Because we heard over and over again, and I told kids now, give me pictures, because I want those pictures, because if they keep giving our kids the chicken sandwiches every meal, every time, then that's a concern to me. So those are my questions.
Okay, thank you. I will answer as best I can. So for your first question, as far as a shared table, there is a shared option for the breakfast, because the breakfasts are brought down to the classroom in the elementary schools. For the middle school and high schools, typically the students pick up what they want and they eat what they have. So there isn't a lot of leftovers for the middle schools and high schools breakfast. Elementary schools, they can have a shared table in each of the classrooms for the things that the students do not eat. For the lunches, typically because the students can go through the lunch and pick and choose the items that they want to eat, there's very little waste as far as that type of food. If there is some things from their tray that they do not want, they definitely can put it on a shared table. As far as fruit and the salad bar, those are unlimited. Kids can go back for as many apples as they want, as much of the salad bar, as long as it's during their lunch period. They can get as much as they want of those items. They can purchase a second meal if they would like to. So that is an option for students that are really hungry. Your second?
So how much is a second meal? What's the cost on meals?
$5. $5 for lunch, $3 for breakfast.
Okay.
And there's a formula that we're given how we can determine that amount. It's based on our reimbursement amount that we receive from USDA, and so we fit the guidelines to match that. And your second question?
Let's do with water stations.
The water stations, yes, we are in the process of getting those set back up. The problem is during the pandemic, a lot of those water containers were set to the side and they're plastic, so they broke. So we have to order all new water containers. So we are in the process of ordering those, and SFE with GMCS, we will be offering the fruit-flavored water stations at all schools.
Ms. Hanks, did you have any update on the water, schools without the water filling stations also?
Yes, sir. So we are in the process of the retrofit for schools who do not have the bottle fill stations. Instead, they have the more traditional water fountains. And so we have just secured a vendor within the past 2 weeks who's going to actually be installing those district-wide. We've already seen the changeover on the auto flush toilets and sinks. So those are in process currently. It just took us a long time to actually find a vendor willing to take that on. But we did finally find one, and so the bottle fill stations will be going in with a few caveats. I have a couple of schools I think that we are not going to, because we are very shortly going to be giving them a brand new school.
No.
I believe there's also an inquiry. We just renewed the contract with SFE this school year. Previously, that was approved by the board. The state does require us to go out periodically. We did do a full competitive solicitation. Those are advertised just like all the rest of our solicitations are. And all known vendors are mailed the information. SFE was the only individual that came back to the district.
What
How
was-
long is
what's
their
the length
contract
of it?
for?
5
It is,
years?
yeah, 5 years.
5 years.
And if I can add, I just want to make sure, I don't think we clarified this, but there potentially, we have looked at it to see if there's other food items that we could offer at other times. We just can't compete during lunch, and even during the school day, we have to be very careful about what the calorie intake is. And so it's not just, we're seeing if there's any wiggle room, any other place where snacks, like what you're talking about, they're still healthy snacks, can potentially be given. After school, it becomes wide open. Food can be given in a lot different way. It just takes funding to do that. But I believe they're also looking at, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Montano, at looking at a dinner program. Did you mention that? Can't remember.
Yes, we are looking at applying for a dinner program that would, where when a student stays for an after-school academic program, they can receive a dinner during that academic time frame.
How about athletic program?
So for the meals for the athletic program, the issue with that is that we had a lot more options, a variety for students to choose from on those forms. However, a lot of the items we just can't get anymore. It's very difficult to get chicken. We used to offer baked chicken. It's difficult to get the individual pizzas. So really the only options are a turkey or a ham sandwich and a chicken strip salad, like a fajita chicken salad.
And also, Ms. Haas, I think last year with the increase in the dollar amount for food, did we give very many meals out for athletics?
Last year we did quite a few, yes.
We did still did quite a few. Okay.
Especially when teams went to a place that there was no
restaurant,
option for
yeah.
a restaurant or takeout.
Right.
Well, what happens to the kids, like, when I'm thinking of like the track meet, they're there all day. They go in the morning, they're there all day, and all they get is that one lunch. So when, and I don't know if this is still happening because my son graduated 2 years ago, but we used to I used to make like 15 breakfast burritos for anybody that wanted breakfast burritos, and then they would have their lunch, and then they didn't eat nothing the rest of the day until they got home. So I don't know what could be done for the long programs like that are there all day, for invitationals and stuff like that. I don't know that's something that hasn't been looked at or has been looked at that we could assist our students into.
Mr. Mortensen, Ms. Benali, we actually, and if that didn't happen, I could definitely look at that. But we looked at the time frame, especially for track and some other sports at times, doing 2 meals for that day. So depending on when they left and when they came home, we were actually doing 2 meals. And so if that is not happening, then we can definitely make sure it is, because it's not a money issue. And so if coaches aren't aware of that, or if we're not following that process of allowing for 2 meals, which would be $15 per meal, then we'll make sure that schools are re-notified.
Or even the hot dog stands that you guys are doing. Why are we able to follow the students out there and let them have a cooked hot dog or hamburger during their track meets?
Yes, we are looking at using those hot dog carts and even the grills in certain places at some of the athletic events. That is something that we have definitely talked about offering. That when there's 2, especially when it's 2 local district schools, you know, competing, that we could definitely offer a hot dog type of a fresh, right off the grill meal. So that is something that has been talked about.
And I think the last thing I want to mention is for the regional one, which is 17 school district or 7 school districts, we're going to be going up to Dual C, but everybody wants GMCS to host it again here. After Dual C, we're going to be coming back here to region, or Gallup McKinley County, to host the Region 1 meeting. So be prepared to cook up a storm again. You guys have really impressed everybody with the Region 1, so we really appreciate your efforts in that.
Great, thank you.
The only question I have is, you mentioned dinners for after-school programs. Is that just like the tutoring or the whatever? Does it include like the athletics when they get out of practice 5:30? No.
No, it has to be a curriculum-based program. Now, if those students that are participating in athletics come and participate a little bit, you know, in that curriculum-based portion, then yes, they could receive a dinner. But it's not. The way the grant funding happens, our hands are tied. It's completely based on a curriculum-based program.
Okay, thank you. And then when you talk about your salad bars, what are your salad bars? Is it just lettuce, the regular salad with fruit, or do we have like soup, side soups, or, and then, I don't know, just like the salad bar at, I don't know,
Sizzler?
Sizzler with the tacos or whatever, yeah.
Can read their minds at this point.
We want a Tucano's salad bar.
So it has to fit within the nutritional guidelines. So, you know, certain things we can offer unlimited, you know, lettuce, carrots, you know, any other fresh vegetables and fruits. We do offer like garbanzo beans and things. So it has to fit within what would be, you know, okay to offer an unlimited amount of. So a lot of those other options that you would see at a commercial salad bar are really not something that we can fit within the dietary guidelines.
It's the high calorie stuff that typically can't be done. Like soup would
fresh
be
fruit and
soup would
vegetables.
be complicated potentially, but there may be an option there. I don't know. I'm not an expert nutritionist, but there's a lot of soup that wouldn't qualify, I'm sure, just because of the calorie.
Have you guys looked
Calories.
into like how we can do like a separate dish like for Native American Day, you know, having a traditional meal that is that does go by the federal guidelines for some of our students for that one day? Is there anything that you guys have researched for that? Or even Spanish Heritage Day, or, you know, I'm just thinking of these days that we could help implement to, you know, have the kids kind of have some of their own dishes that they're used to.
I don't see why that wouldn't be an issue. It's definitely something that we could look into if we get some of that information ahead of time, what those days are. We would have to, you know, be strict as far as the calorie guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So some options that would really be great traditionally might not fit within the guidelines of the USDA. But we could definitely offer some of that and look into that.
That would be great. Thank you.
Board members, any other questions? Well, I've got a comment. I appreciate your time and effort with this. It's a big undertaking. Michelle Obama has created a whole load of garbage that you have to deal with, you know, monitoring kids' calorie intakes. It's unbelievable. I look at my kids. They're, you know, skinny white boys that sit down for dinner and eat like literally 3 hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
Like the tiny, pathetic little meals that they, you know, are mandated are a joke. You know, when you look at the calorie needs of kids, you know, of all different shapes and
And they
sizes,
burn them off. They
and
burn
then
them off like nothing.
you know, kids that are competing. If you've read read accounts of Michael Phelps, for example, when he's like training and stuff like that, what his calorie intake a day, like 10,000 calories or some crazy amount. And you know, I mean, we have kids that are competing in very intensive athletic activities, and they need more food, and it's created this crazy little, you know, black market for snacks on every single campus in our in our district.
Yeah.
Which there are guidelines for when you can sell a snack.
We don't know
and-
about any of those.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said black market. And you know, and every coach in the district that's burning up their, you know, their coaching stipend
Right.
with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stashes of, you know,
Caesar
peanuts
pizzas.
and stuff like that for their kids so that they can perform. I mean, it just, anyways, it's a comment on how laughable the guidelines are and just how stupid they are and how they've created like all these disincentives and inequity with kids and their different dietary requirements.
One more question since you stated
Please.
that. If the coaches request for Gatorade, Powerade, water during their trips, are they able to do that with SFE?
So part of you mean separate from the sports meal packet?
Yes.
Yes, they could definitely do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they actually, every time that I saw when a meal went out, it was with Gatorade.
Yeah,
it
a
doesn't have
meal
to follow
comes
the
with
same
Gatorade
requirements.
With the meal,
and a
but
water.
Yeah.
I'm
But if
saying
you
on the
wanted
side.
it extra,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, there are definitely, that can definitely be provided.
Could
As long as
someone
there's
let our
funding.
coaches know that, please? So they can have that option to, because I know as parents, we bought them. We bought like a case of water before we even went anywhere, or Gatorade before we went to the games, or meats that we purchased them for the kids. So maybe if coaches know that, then the parents don't need to do that.
I'll work with the athletic director and make sure that information is
I appreciate
distributed.
that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, board members. Is that it, Mr. Hyatt?
That's it.
Okay.
Mr. Morrison.
The next item down here under study circle is item C, notices and communications. Please note the calendar items there for our next board meetings and holidays and parent-teacher conferences. That takes us down to number 6, new business. And with that, I will turn the time back over to Mr. Hyatt.
President Martinson, members of the board, this last item is essentially a renewal, but it's a memorandum of MOA, or memorandum of agreement, between us and UNM, specifically UNM Gallup, for our early college program at McKinley Academy. And so this is essentially re-upping that for a 5-year period of time. There is slightly some different language in there, but essentially it is the same agreement that we can operate and work with them on their campus for this particular program. Again, I just wanted to reiterate the success of this particular program and why this MOU is so valuable to our community and to our students. This year, we grew quite a bit. I believe we're close to, if not over, 450 students in our McKinley Academy program. I think this year, I can't remember what the exact number is, but I think our freshman class is the largest we've ever had. We're getting much more participation from rural areas as we have figured out transportation and athletics and all those different things as far as logistics. And so we are really honing in on an even greater and quality program in one of the largest in New Mexico at this point, and most successful in my opinion. Students are graduating now at a higher rate as far as associate's degrees than ever before in McKinley County. It wasn't promoted in the past. We had a student, at least one, I know for sure, because I think he was the valedictorian at Maimira, 3 associate's degrees, multiple other students with double associate's degrees that went to McKinley. I think that person was also the student body, or I don't know, they call it the college. Actually, I used to be on it at Gallup, but student council president for that organization. And so highly successful, a great jump start for students in our area to help them get a jump start on their careers, and specifically college and getting credits beforehand. makes their life a little bit easier. I know it's been very helpful for many families financially, and also, again, helping those students get into their careers quicker and getting more prepared at a younger age so that they can, in one respect, not only be successful, but also earn more money quicker in their life, which will help their financial futures also. So that's what this particular agreement is for, is to continue that partnership, and UNM has been great to work with, a tremendous host and a partner to work with in helping students, very accommodating, and we're just super excited to continue that partnership.
Mr. Hyatt, do we have all the space up there that we need?
That it depends. I mean, there's President Mortensen. There are different demands on the college and different demands that we are taking up. We've definitely expanded. We are almost double the space that we are taking up now compared to when we started, just because of the success of the program. So we'll have to make some decisions in the future about what that looks like for our students, and may need to look at different kinds of spaces to add on.
Are they all UNM teachers, or is some of our staff up there?
President Mortensen, Ms. Benali, we actually, because some students may not be quite ready, especially in the freshman program, most of those teachers are our teachers that work on the campus, and so we are utilizing classrooms on the campus. We also utilize some of those teachers for students who may not be quite prepared for a math or an English type course or science, or whatever it might be at the college level. And so they're preparatory courses or acceleration courses that we're providing to students to help them eventually get into those actual dual credit college courses. I think we have, Ms. Montagno, how many teachers do we have up there? Is it 7 or 8? 8 teachers on the campus that are ours. And some of them also do dual credit too. So it's not necessarily just high school courses, but also dual credit courses.
Board members, any other questions? Comments? Nothing? Okay. Is there a motion on the table concerning this item?
I'll go ahead and motion to approve. I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and motion to approve the 5-year renewal of McKinley Academy Memorandum of Agreement and License Agreement.
Thank you. Second. All right. Joan, roll call, please.
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Benali,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen.
Yes. All right, board members, that concludes our business for today. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right. Roll call, please.
Who's second?
Kevin, Mr. Mitchell.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Benali,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen.
Yes.
1:58.
We're adjourned.